Hi, this is Gilbert Gottfried, and I'm here with my co-host Frank Santopadre, and this is Gilbert and Frank's Amazing Colossal Obsession.
Beautifully done.
Yes, and now I know one or two of you might have been complaining.
Or 80.
Yeah, well, 80. We didn't do an exact count. But it could be in the thousands, or it could be one or two. We don't have ways for knowing for sure. We're complaining, saying that the sound quality on our last episode was pure and total shit. I think was.
Some people suggested it was done in the men's room at the Friars.
Yes. Yeah. But it would have been a lot better.
More interesting. and probably had Freddie Roman in it.
But see, what we should say is we did that on purpose because we wanted it to be like the Blair Witch Project. We wanted to originally say, we found this footage lost in the forest, and everyone from this documentary film crew has died. But they told us what films they liked before they died. Yeah. Yes.
What can we say? It's not that professional an operation.
It's not. Yeah. It's not. The mics are bad. The sound system's horrible. For Christ's sakes, do you think I want Frank as a co-host? No. I'm telling you, everything could be better.
How did I know it was going to go in that direction?
Yes.
So if you want some better audio, send us checks.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll send
Patreon.
Patreon.com.
Patreon.com.
Right. Better audio. / Gilbert Gottfried.
/ Gilbert Gottfried.
Some people would like to / Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes, a lot of people want me to. Anyway, the movie I recommended last week, in case you couldn't hear it, was The Little Fugitive.
Yes, we'll say a couple of words again about it for people who couldn't hear.
He was a little boy, and his day, and he thinks the police are after him, and he escapes to Coney Island.
Right.
And the whole, it was a movie that influenced the French New Wave.
Correct.
And this was a new wave the French had, because they used to do it with their palms forward.
The old wave.
Yeah. But the new wave was the back of the hand, and they'd wave back and forth.
It's a film that's near and dear to your heart because you're from Coney Island.
I was born in Coney Island,
right?
And it just brings back memories.
Yeah, because we talk a lot about movies that are set in old New York.
Oh, yeah.
And this one really captures Brooklyn and Coney Island, and I think that we talked about the subway train.
Oh, yeah, and the subways, and I remember the steeplechase ride that were these wooden horses on tracks, and they would go around the roof, and then I remember there was like a clown with a whip when you were going by, and there was those...
they blow women's skirts up?
Yeah, they would blow women's skirts up, and a machine there that would blow women's skirts up, and there was like the revolving floor that would go in the opposite direction.
And all of that stuff shut down, what, in the 60s? Late 60s?
Yeah, all of it's gone.
Yeah. So, and The Little Fugitive was, we said last week, and we'll just say it again, it's worth repeating, was made by a couple, Morris Engel and Ruth Orkin, who was a very famous black and white photographer. And I misspoke last week. I think I said it was shot in 16 millimeter, and since then I did a little research, and I think it was shot in 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
So, but it was very much a homemade, a home movie.
The sound was put in later.
Correct.
And Francois Truffaut.
That's right.
Was very influenced.
And as I said, I saw Scorsese talk about it and introduce it at I think the New School. Very influential film. And
you think you saw?
I think I saw it. I mean,
could have been just some homeless man.
Could have been with very
might not have been the New School.
Very bushy eyebrows.
Yes,
a homeless man.
A short guy who didn't trim his eyebrows was talking about the film. He said, Scorsese.
I was at a party with. I was at a fundraiser, and Eugene Levy was at the table, and a drunk woman came over and said to me, "Could you do me a favor? Could you take a picture of me and Mr. Scorsese?" And Eugene loved that. So the Little Fugitive, worth seeing.
Yes,
Definitely.
And also,
TCM runs it.
in that movie is the guy playing the photographer is Will Lee.
Oh, that's right.
Who was in Sesame Street as
Correct.
Mr. Hooper.
That's right.
And like I said last week, there was one part in Sesame Street where they go, he says to them, Merry Christmas, and they say, and Happy Hanukkah.
And that spoke to you.
Yes, because it proves that Mr. Hooper, there was a Jew living
On Sesame Street. Well, Ernie was Jewish, wasn't he?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yes. I also the Little Fugitive. I also talked about Sideways last week, and I won't say that much about it in case people did listen to last week's episode and suffered terribly through the bad audio. Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church, who
I worked with on Wings.
You worked with on Wings, is a funny actor, and written by Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor. Google it, watch it. It's available everywhere. Terrific comedy and a great moving performance by Paul Giamatti, who we talked about last week, the son of the former commissioner of baseball.
Yes,
Bart
I
Giamatti.
knew his father had something to do with sports, and I remember I was going, was he a hockey player or something?
You are a sports maven. Check out our upcoming episode with Bob Costas to see just how much sports Gilbert actually knows. So moving on.
Yes.
Let's pick two new ones for this week, and I'm gonna go first and go quickly. I want to.
Yeah, that's what your wife said. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like it's
to
true.
spend each Sunday with you as friend to friend. I'm sorry we're through. I'm telling you how I feel. I hope you feel that way too.
Is that Rudy Valley?
No, I can't. It's too early in the day to get my voice to a full Eddie Cantor.
Oh, it's Eddie Cantor. Yeah. You just woke up. You could have fooled me. Michael Clayton is the picture that I want to talk about, which is a kind of a 70s-esque thriller, a little bit. And a cousin of a movie like 3 Days of the Condor, movies we've talked about.
Yes.
Movies we talked about off mic, like Parallax View, All the President's Men. It's a legal thriller. It's very smart. Written and directed by a guy named Tony Gilroy, who wrote a movie I know you like, The Devil's Advocate.
Oh, yes.
You told Paul Scheer that you like that movie. He also wrote Dolores Claiborne, a movie called State of Play with our friend Josh Mostel. And I won't say too much about it because it's a film full of surprises and twists and turns. But George Clooney plays a legal fixer who fixes problems for a law firm, gets clients in trouble, out of trouble. Tom Wilkinson, the British actor, has a great performance in it, and Sidney Pollack, who directed 3 Days of the Condor and made those kind of thrillers, turns up in the film as the head of the law firm.
And I just saw Sidney Pollack. They reran Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, and he's in that. Right. He plays a weirdo.
Yeah.
Plays a kind of a scary guy.
Yeah, he's in with that whole weird sex organization.
Right. What do you think of that movie? Off the subject.
I liked Nicole Kidman's ass in that movie. There is one scene where she's standing in front of the mirror, and I thought Nicole Kidman back then had the best ass possible.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's your review of Eyes Wide Shut.
Best. If you want to see Nicole Kidman's ass,
give it 2 cheeks.
See.
What about the rest of the film?
Yeah. But there were a couple of other girls there naked at the party.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you saw you didn't see it on you didn't see the digitized version where they took the nudity out.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I saw when they show showgirls on TV, they have these blurry floating bikinis
Right.
on the girls.
Isn't that strange?
It's weird.
And one on Kyle MacLachlan, too, which makes no sense. Showgirls. Yeah, so getting back real quick to Michael Clayton, produced by Steven Soderbergh, who made another Clooney picture I love called Out of Sight, which we'll talk about on another show. But 2007, we usually recommend older films, but that's a pretty new film. It won a ton of awards. Tilda Swinton's great. If you like thrillers and you like movies with twists and turns, smart films.
In The Devil's Advocate, there's a very quick nude scene.
Charlize?
It's Charlize Theron.
You are Mr. Skin.
Oh, yes. And she was in, I forget the name movie I was in, A Million Ways to Die in the West.
That's right. Right. Yeah. Did you tell her you admired her nude scene?
Yes. Yeah. No, she wasn't there when I was there. I think she purposely. I think that was in her rider.
She rearranged the shooting schedule. You this week, what do you got?
I pick a movie. This is a very well-respected film, and I respect it too. What the hell? And going back to Scorsese, he said, quote, and I'm paraphrasing, that he can't imagine the movie industry, the world of movies, without Paul Newman.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's great.
And so the movie I'm picking is HUD.
Oh.
And it's Paul Newman, Brenda Wild, and Patrick...
Patricia Neal.
Patricia Neal. And, of course, Melvin Douglas.
Right.
Melvin Douglas, who is very important to note, is a Jew.
Yes. I had a feeling you were going there.
That's the reason you should see HUD.
Tell us the plot of HUD real quick.
I don't know the plot. I know Melvin Douglas is a Jew, so you should see HUD.
Jew spotting nude scenes is really what you're...
And when Melvin Douglas has a scene where he steps out of the shower.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. People see the uncut version.
Uncut? What do you mean by uncut? Then he wasn't a Jew.
Yeah, see, well,
Make up your mind.
He was circumcised late in life. And that was a very painful time of his life that he talks about.
So HUD is a Western directed by Martin Ritt.
Yes.
Who was blacklisted.
And it's got that, the legendary cinematographer.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Something.
James Wong Howe.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And like they say, James can't be Wong.
Wow. It is early in the morning, folks. If you doubted it at any point.
Yeah. Paul Newman is one of these screw-up guys.
Yeah.
He likes to, he fucks around.
Melvin Douglas is his dad.
Yeah.
Right.
And gets into bar fights. His dad is conscientious and a hard worker. And Brenda Wild is looking up to Paul Newman.
Oh, he's the nephew.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he looks up to Paul Newman. And, it has that one great line in it, that one famous line where Melvin Douglas says something like, nobody, you never loved anyone, no one ever loved you. And Paul Newman goes, my mama loved me, but she died.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about Newman on this show.
Yes.
He keeps coming up.
Yes. It's like he was in The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean.
Oh, I love that
with
one.
Stacy Keach.
Yeah, he's the albino gunman.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Stacy Keach.
And Jacqueline Bisset and Victoria Principal.
Anthony Zerbay. You know that actor?
Oh, yes.
He turns up in there.
And most importantly, the theme song was performed by Andy Williams.
How do you know this?
And it's marmalade, molasses, and honey, cinnamon and sassafras tea. I know that life could be so happy and sunny if you'd go away with me. I know I'd really like to do. Head for the hills with you, and hear you say, Hey, let's make a day of it, marmalade. Yeah.
It's even funnier the second time.
Yeah. That's what my wife said.
Oh, Lord. It is too early. All right, so recapping. You're picking HUD. I picked Tony Gilroy and George Clooney's wonderful Michael Clayton thriller. And we recapped The Little Fugitive.
Yes, and we stated for a fact that the sound quality on this show is pure shit.
So send money, and we'll hire a professional engineer.
And I'll get a new co-host. Oh, God, I dream of that.